Well, certainly these issues will continue to be a concern with all of the things that we're hearing. Believe me, it isn't really something to smile about. But what are the things that we have yet to do? That concern that's raised by the governor of Niger State is certainly that is most disconcerting and most certainly something everyone is already worried about. Without further ado, let's welcome two gentlemen joining us this morning. Let's start with Mr. Farouk Adamu, who is an APC chieftain. He joins us from our studios in Kano. Thanks for joining us this morning. Well, certainly you must be as concerned as everyone else. We see on the front pages of the newspaper this morning that your party, the APC, is saying that the concerns are real. Then the question is, what are we doing about it? It's been a long time coming.
Yeah, good morning, Nigeria. It's true. It's a great concern to every Nigerian, the current situation, you know, the security situation. It's really bad, you know, but you could understand the delicacy of this nature. Now, let's talk about Kaduna. You remember the Kaduna State governor was talking about go and kill them, kill everybody. Now, you heard what the Minister of Defense spoke about. You also heard what the governor of Niger State is talking about, that coordinated military action. So this is the kind of situation that the government finds itself in, but things are being done to ensure that, you know, kidnappers are dealt with decisively. Then hostages are also rescued because, you know, I don't want us to go the Sri Lankan way. You know, what happened in Sri Lanka was the Tamil Tigers, you know, the military went and killed everybody, including innocent persons. So this government is trying as much as possible to see, using technology as well, to ensure that these bandits are isolated and dealt with decisively. So we still continue to plead with the citizens that, yes, the situation is dire. Yes, there are a lot of crises in the country, you know, because of the security situation. But something is being done. The government can hear the people cry, and the government is trying to, as much as possible, to ensure the military are given enough resources to fight this war. And you see also as citizens, some of us don't even appreciate what the military is doing as well. They are being killed as well. They are also Nigerians. They try to see what they could do to keep you and I safe. So this is, it needs collective input from all of us. This is not about politics. This is about our country, about our life, about our people. So I think it's high time we all come together with advice to the government and then the opposition, of course, to continue opposing so that we do things for the better.
You know, one of the things that would worry anyone is for how long is this going to take? I mean, it's not news to you, all the things that's going on all over the place. You just listened to the governor of Niger State who said that, look, no one is safe anymore, that he's not even sure that with a 2-hour drive from the place where he says the Boko Haram has hoisted their flags to Abuja is just 2 hours. And how long does it take to overrun Abuja? That's perhaps what he is also, you know, suggesting. So one is wondering, for how long is it going to take? It is very correct. The military, they are soldiers, they are Nigerians as well. Just a moment. But all of the things that we have been talking about hasn't seemed not to be moving the needle. If anything, it's just getting worse in different parts of the country at the same time. So people are patient, but then how long is it going to take? It's a question people will be asking, don't you think?
Well, you know, it will take as long as us as Nigerians come together. It takes as long as some persons in this country, some parts of the country are trying to secede. So it will take such time when we believe in our country. It will take such a time when we don't look at it from political point of view. We don't look at it from religious point of view or ethnic point of view. It will take as much as when all of us that look agree that this is a situation that is confronting all of us. It's not about any one of us, but about collectively the whole Nigeria. Now, do we have a situation? Do we have crisis? Yes, we do. What do we need to do? people need to continue to cooperate with the government, and then the government also needs to inform the citizens, and that's exactly what's happening. And let me give you an information. Between last night or afternoon, when the governor said flag has been hoisted, I want you to do your own independent investigation. Something has taken place. The military have taken over that place as I speak to you now, because that's the information I got before I got into the studio.
Yeah, Mr. Damu, you know, looking at all of this scenario, many just wonder, what else can the people do? They're attacking schools, kidnapping students, killing students. They're attacking worship areas. They call it soft targets. So people just wonder, what else can they do? Because some of them say it appears as though the authorities are not listening to them. So at this point, they're struggling to wrap their heads around it, why these things continue. What do you think can be told to such people to convince them that the authorities are indeed listening and doing something to stop this?
Well, part of what people need to do is to continue to cooperate with the government. I mean, does the government send military intervention if there are crises? Yeah, they do. Do we have enough forces to take care of all these things? We don't. That's the truth. I mean, are the security forces thinning out? Yes, they are. But then the government is in the process of recruiting you. Even yesterday, as at yesterday, new recruitment is being done in the Air Force, in the Navy, in the Army, and so on. So until such a time when, because Nigeria is under policed, Nigeria is under guard. That's the truth. So the government is trying to employ more people, more hands, and then what you and I need to do to continue to give information to the police, to the security agencies, so that, because this is, you know, when we talk about security, it's not about one person, it's about all of us. So at least the citizens need to also give information. If nothing is done, then people can complain. But of course we can understand, as I said. I mean, you can imagine if somebody's child is kidnapped, and then some people are calling for concerted military action. I mean, those families will not feel happy. So government is in a situation that needs, you know, prayers also, needs also diligence. That's exactly what's taking place. So we will continue to plead with the people to continue to understand that something is being done. The military is being rejigged, new service chiefs have taken over, and things are getting the better. You know, no matter what anybody says, that is true. You know, we had it also this bad some times ago. Now the situation, I can understand, is getting out of hand, but it is not out of nothing is being done by the government. As I said, service chiefs have been appointed, and then you can also see that military deployments are being done everywhere. Unfortunately, instead of police to do it, but then what do? We have the crisis at hand, so everybody will have to come out to confront this evil that is confronting this country.
Well, we have another perspective from Abuja. Markwe?
Thank you, Chamberlain. We have with us in the studio Mr. Buba Galadima, who is a farmer and a politician. That's how he'd like to be introduced. But we also know that he's a former spokesperson of the Article Campaign Organization. Sir, you're welcome to Sunrise Daily this morning.
Thank you very much, Mape.
Well, I do not know, what has gone through your mind the last couple of, should I say, weeks now, but particularly yesterday. I don't know if you had the chance to look through the news. What was playing through your mind, especially when you saw that story from the governor of Niger State saying that Boko Haram was only 2 hours away from Abuja?
Well, let me say that I was most distressed in the last 4 or 5 days, 5 days, or since the death of the Chadian strongman, Idris Deby. And this is what the Niger State governor has said. But I think he hasn't got even all the informations available to most of the people. But let me start by condoling the authorities of the University of Greenfield in Kaduna, the people of Tara in Sabombirni local government of Sokoto State, the people of Gaidam in Yobe State, and the people and the soldiers that were killed in Mainok of Banishek local government of Borno State. I'm most distressed because if you know the figures of human lives that we have lost in these places I just enumerated, it is enough to send shivers the spine of any living Nigerian. And it looks like it may not yet be over because we have not yet seen anything, especially when I want to paint the picture that Nigeria has become extremely vulnerable, and we lost a very, very good chance when our government or our president refused to attend the burial of the Chadian strongman, as I have mentioned. You know why? Because there were world leaders, including the president of France, and it could have been a big opportunity, if we are serious, for the president to be there and discuss the security situation in both West and Central Africa. Because as we know, the Chadian strongman was the prefect or the super core police in these regions. He has soldiers in Mali, he has soldiers stationed in Burkina Faso, he has soldiers kept in Niger Republic, and he also has soldiers to maintain peace in Central African Republic. And of course, you mentioned the Chad Basin area of both Cameroon, Chad, Niger, and Nigeria. And the man was just here less than 1 week before his death to sign some memorandum of understanding, which people others say has to do with security of these regions. Suddenly, people were trained, bandits were trained in Libya, in an area occupied by General Khalifa Haftar, and Haftar is being supported in that Libyan conflict by Chad, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, Egypt, and even Russia. So now, and the rebels are now attacking Chad from 4 angles. One angle from the eastern flank of N'Djamena through southern Sudan, another flank from Abeche, from Faya Lerju, Abeche, and then one directly through the Awuzu Strip, and then one from the Kanem region of Chad. We have lost this chance again because 2 days ago, the military council in Chad has said that they will never negotiate with bandits, which means now that Chad is going to fall into a civil war. If Chad falls into a civil war, and you have proliferation of small arms coming into Nigeria, and Nigerian military, as I saw one of the last speakers on this program, it said, is overstretched. Therefore, they don't have enough manpower to tackle insecurities in the southeast, insecurity in the north central, insecurity in the northwest. It means that the northeast can be overrun anytime. What is our solution? Our solution is simple but difficult. You cannot use only brute force of human strength now anymore to fight this war. I have said severally on several platforms, including this one, what you need is a measure of the use of intelligence and technology. Unless Nigeria does that, we are likely to get into trouble, because the rivalry of tribal wars that is going to happen in Chad between the Guran, the Zakawa, the Tubo, the Kanumbu, the Tuaregs, and the Arab elements in the north, and the enemists or tribes of Godogodo, Bagarmi, Sara, and the rest of them in the south would make the entire Central Africa and the North and West Africa vulnerable. Small arms will now filter into Nigeria, and our military will be incapacitated. So we have to quickly In fact, I will call publicly now that it will not be a shame if we can recruit mercenaries, even to assist, bolster the spirit and the courage of our own troops. We have seen it done when Jonathan postponed the election in 2015. Is it for 2 weeks? I can't remember.
Thereabout, yeah.
Thereabout. When Boko Haram was almost taking over the Northeast, he recruited mercenaries. And those mercenaries upturned the fortunes of the Nigerian military, and that enabled Jonathan to conduct the election in every polling booth of the northeastern part of Nigeria. Now we can't. It is not going to be a shame. No, it is part of our strategy. If our soldiers are overstretched and their capability and capacity is being reduced, why don't we ask for foreign help? Why don't we import Air Force gunship Air Force jets to help us, to help our Nigerian military to do what they need to do? Look at Gaidam. 3 days ago, the bandits attacked Gaidam at 3 p.m. And up to the following day, up to the evening, and even up to yesterday, they were still inside Gaidam. And the military is supposed to be just on the flank of Gaidam itself. So, look, we can't, for now, I sympathize with the military because they are overstretched, they are underarmed, and their morale is so low. So all we need to do is to bolster this morale. Do you know how many people were killed in Zamfara 2 days ago?
There has been a lot of controversy, though, on the suggestion that you've made about, the hiring of mercenaries. Even though some people will say that this suggestion, is beyond political lines, because even the governor of Borno State, Governor Zulum, has also suggested that mercenaries be hired. And he said that, over and over again. He's also invited the federal government to consider a political solution in, stemming the crisis in Borno. However, the military has not exactly smiled at that suggestion. They believe that they still have a handle on it. If this is actually to boost the morale of the military, and they are saying, we still think we can do this on our own, do you think that it will be a loss of confidence for us on our own part as Nigerians to say, no, we think that mercenaries is what you actually need?
Was it done in the last 12 years? If they could do it on their own, we wouldn't be here, getting deeper and deeper into and digging into the crisis. But we have seen when the mercenaries were ahead that within 2 weeks the fortunes of the Nigerian army was reversed. So we are talking of things that are practical, but the issue is that we are only attacking symptoms. Why don't we go into the root cause of this wahala? The root cause is simply that very few people corner Nigerian resources to themselves. And the ordinary man has nothing to do, has nothing to eat.
Sorry to interrupt you, Mr. Galadima. Let me quickly flip this to Honorable Farouk and ask him, first and foremost, what are your thoughts on the invitation of mercenaries? And, do you agree that we missed a very good chance when the president did not attend the burial of someone who would have considered an ally, Idris Deby of Chad?
Well, honestly, I wouldn't know why the president did not attend that burial, so I don't want to comment on that. But there must have been definitely a strong reason for him not to have been there. Probably he was not invited, or for security reasons also, he wouldn't go. Also many other things, so I don't want to go into that issue. But then let's go to about the mercenaries. Now, you see, Nigerian military is still not a bad military. We have, as a military, as a country, gone to Liberia, we went to Sierra Leone, we went all over the world, and succeeded. So I, as a civilian, do not want to say what I don't know. I don't want to say whether we need mercenaries or we don't. And I'm sure if we do need them, as a matter of need, I am sure the government will consider it. But then, have the military said they need mercenary? Because no matter what, you need to also speak with them. Not only politicians will sit and decide what happens. So if the military think they need mercenary, I'm sure the government will consider it. But do they need mercenaries? I don't think so. We also, as a country, we have our pride. We also need to sit up and ensure we do the right thing. And we're on course. We are on course. And you could also, I want you to understand that we have never had this bad, crisis all over the place. Some of these crises are political. Politicians are causing some of these things. So if as Nigerians we feel that, look, let us bring down the government by inciting violence or hatred, you wouldn't know how it will come back and haunt you. So as a people, we need to cooperate with ourselves.
But if first on the question of the mercenaries, we've heard the Borno State governor say the same thing as well, saying, look, from what he's saying, because he would have interacted with officers over there, so he discussed that matter, I think in one of their forums, saying, look, this is the way to go. So if at that level, that conversation or that consideration has also been muted, doesn't it then suggest that, look, this may be the groundswell of opinion that will get us results, especially if we saw that they got us results the last time out?
Well, the governor did not say he discussed with the military. I'm sure he was just saying his own opinion. And I assure you, if the military if they need mercenaries, they will tell the government, and the government will bring in mercenaries. But then, is it that bad? Is it that bad we bring in mercenaries into our land? How about technology, which this government is trying to do? Now, I will concede that, look, this country, as a country, we need to start looking at other places, not United States of America. We ordered for this Tucano 2-3 years ago. Down the line, they didn't come. So this government should start looking at China, start looking at Russia and other powers that can help us. We need technology. We need technology to fight this war. So I think if we go that way, and I'm sure something has been done. Probably, and we're in a state of war. There are certain information that you and I don't have. There are certain information that do not need to come in public glare. And I'm sure, and I assure you, that look, something has been done. And between now and within the next 1 week, I assure you, I want you to call me back for you to see what will happen in this country. Something is going to happen drastic.
Okay, but when you say the politicians are responsible, the question will be, look, we've heard this several times. Who are these politicians? Do they have more capacity than the government of this country to keep doing this?
Well, you see, we are practicing democracy. If you tell me what's happening with IPOB has no political undertone, or what's happening in the Southwest has no political undertone, or in the Middle Belt has no political undertone, or even in the Northeast has no political undertone, it's not true. Of course, there are politicians that are following these things in some places. Because when you have certain people that want to secede or preaching violence, I heard yesterday from your own studio, in one of your programs, somebody saying that we want to kill Fulanis on channels television. So if you have people like that, what are you talking about? So you see, which means as a people we have responsibility. Even you television stations, media, you have responsibility. There are certain things you don't allow, to air. There are responsibilities you have, among all of us, for us. That look, as a people, do you need to put people to be saying kill, kill, kill? No. You have certain responsibilities as well, which I expect you, all of us. That's why I said, this is not about APC, it's not about Muslims, it's not about Christians. It's about us as a nation, it's about us as a people. And if anybody thinks that, look, I am safe, in my place there is no crisis, you don't give your own quota, you don't contribute, then you are just deceiving yourself. We are in a crisis as a people. We are in a crisis as a nation. What do? Put our hands together, ensure that, look, we give our best so that we hold the government accountable. That if we give suggestion and the government does not do them, we say, look, we ask you to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But issue of mercenaries, well, it's suggestion, it could be suggested, yes, mercenaries, but I as a person, as a proud Nigerian, I don't think it is that bad that our military cannot confront this ragtag army.
All right, well, you know, we here in the media, we stick with and observe with utmost professionalism, the highest of the ethics and standards. And by the way, if Nigerian media actually reports or puts out all the information as it is without their safe or guarding functions or gatekeeping functions, the country would certainly not be together. So the media does its job when they have to. But we'll come back to some of these matters in just a moment. Don't go away.
We're still staying on the matter of security for you, and Alhaji Buba Galadima is still here in the studio. He's a farmer and a politician. Well, you heard the response there of Mr. Farouk Adamu, Honorable Farouk Adamu. I don't know whether there are points where you agreed with him and points you disagreed with him on.
Well, two things first. Thank God that he himself admitted that this war could only be fought by technology. I added intelligence, technology and intelligence. So we have agreed on that one. The second issue is that I don't have the kind of inside knowledge of the workings of government. He's a member of government. So maybe I am only talking from the point of view what I see practically before me, and I comment.
I thought politicians had an insight that we were not aware of.
No. We are ordinary Nigerians. We hear and read in the news or in the newspapers or see on the television, just like any other person. But we can extrapolate reasons why certain things do happen. So all that we need to do in this country, and I said, and times over and over again for the last 12 years. We must attack the very foundation of insecurity in Nigeria. That is fighting corruption. Once people go to school, finish school, they have nothing to do, they have not been taught any trade, they have no infrastructure to function on their own, they must eat. Therefore, they must help themselves. We cannot go out of this. We borrow money, we give monies to states, we give monies to local governments, one or two people. You should be shocked to be reading in newspapers that some people were arrested with their bank account having $300 million, $400 million, $30 billion, this and this, while other people on my way to this studio cannot have a breakfast, and you expect that this nation will survive with this. We will all be slaughtered one day. We have to not only think of ourselves and our children, but the ordinary man in the village or in the streets of Nigeria.
And a lot of people will agree with you. I mean, that's the reason why, you know, we go to the polls every 4 years. That at the end of the day...
Are we given a chance to choose our leaders? When some people sit down in air-conditioned rooms, instruct security to write figures for them and announce? When somebody can be number 4 in an election and he's declared a winner? Is there justice? Once there is no justice and fairness, it is impossible to get peace.
Now, again, I mean, you brought in another dimension, but initially we're talking about equality, I mean, equity and fairness and fair play, you know, for all. But I mean, the gentleman, Honorable Farouk Adamu in Kano, was talking about the role of politicians in this. He believes that the many security issues that we have across the country today, looking at the complexity and the sheer number, that there's no way we can rule out political influence in this. We've heard even Governor Hope Uzodimma of Imo State also say this. that politicians are the ones, causing the mayhem in his state. I don't know what your thoughts are towards politicians. We've heard this before now. We heard it when even the PDP was in power at the central level, at the federal government level. The politicians were the ones causing all manner of havoc. I don't know, what are your thoughts when you hear that politicians are at the forefront of, some of the crises that we're facing today?
Well, I wouldn't know, because I was not part of those who organized this mayhem or this crisis or this violence, so I wouldn't know. And I'm not a member of the Nigerian Security Intelligence, but we voted in people.
But you are a politician.
I'm coming. I confess to you.
Yes, and you said that
I'm a politician and a farmer.
Yes, and that you can extrapolate.
That's what I said.
Yes, indeed.
I myself mentioned the word extrapolate.
Indeed.
So, what I'm trying to tell you is that we have people claimed that we voted for them because they promised us they will do this A, B, C, D. Are they doing that? The answer is no. If they are not doing that, they wouldn't expect other opponents of them to just keep quiet. We have to tell you that they have failed here, they failed here, they failed there. Let them come and tell us, we have succeeded here, we have succeeded here. Now, Honorable Farouk has told us now that we have not reached a stage, that it is not that bad that we will invite mercenaries. This issue is going on for the last 12 years. It has not been sorted out.
That's Boko Haram, right?
But yes, it's part of the insecurity, isn't it? So, for how many years do we wait? 100 years? Maybe I have less than 10 years to live. I'm already around 70. So, I will not see peace until I die. That is unacceptable to me. We voted this government because they promised us they will fight corruption. It is the most corrupt government that has ever existed in Nigeria. They told us they are experts and they were this, they were that. In intelligence and in military, they will fight insecurity. It is the worst that we have ever seen, because from Jonathan's northeast Wahala, we are now spread to southeast, north central, and northwest, and in fact, southwest. So they failed in that. They said economy, our naira was 180 something. When they came in, it is now 500. So what are they waiting for? They don't have the moral courage to resign, that they are incapable of running the affairs of this country? After all, does the military decide for politicians whether they want to this or they want to that? Who makes the policies? If the government now observes that the military is either overstretched or incapable or have no arms to fight this war, and it is their policy to bring in mercenaries, the military must subject themselves to the authority of the civilian government. Unless somebody else doesn't know that the military is subject to the control and policy of civilians, which is now manned by politicians.
Honorable, let me quickly come to you. You have, kicked against, the suggestion that we bring in mercenaries into this. This is despite the fact that even members of your party, Governor Zulum is a member of your party, and he is sitting right, where the fire is. And they definitely would have experienced when mercenaries were brought in, and will understand the capacity of the troops on the ground, and know why it is that they're making this suggestion. You kicked against it. Nonetheless, you've also talked about politicians. We've heard this over and over again, and a number of Nigerians will wonder if politicians are involved in this. If it is true that, a lot of what is happening is politically being manipulated, what exactly is, taking us so long in either fishing out the masterminds of this or naming them? Even the governor of Imo State seems at a loss as to why, the security operatives, whom maybe he believes they know them, will not want to name those who are behind the insecurity that we all feel?
Well, let me first of all respond to my senior brother about, when he said this government is the most corrupt in this country. You see, that's the beauty of democracy. My senior brother will be talking about this government of Muhammadu Buhari that he knows that is the most corrupt. It's totally unfair and it's not correct. I am not telling you there is no corruption in this country, but as at today, nobody can discuss corruption on the table. Nobody. Back in the days, corruption was discussed on the table, monies are shared, things are done, in the open, But as a people, the reflection of what we are, so that's what's happening. So that's about corruption. Then about whether the government is incompetent, it should resign. My senior brother should know that it is not done like that in democracy. And he believes in the rule of law, I want to believe. He knows that we won the election because those that lost, including him, went to court and the court gave judgment. It's the only court we have now. So whatever we're going to say, look, we have to be guided by what we have. Now, whether politicians are fanning the embers of this crisis, yes, in some parts of the country, there are political undertones. Whether during Jonathan or PDP, when they say politicians, yes, it's true. Even back when we were in opposition, there are certain comments that we make, so the ruling party could perceive it as, bringing about crisis. But the difference is that, look, now we have the secessionists coming out in the open, maiming, killing, burning, looting all over the place in this country. We've seen it. We've seen it happen. We've seen where some warlords will come out and make some expressions that will not mean well. And no responsible government, all because of democracy. People are not being attacked by the security agencies, at least to show them that you're not supposed to do this. So as a people, if we politicians think that, look, if we bring down the government of Hope Uzodinma by burning his house or by killing policemen, in this country, we see how police stations are razed. We see how military men are killed. And anybody will sit here and tell me that that is correct? And so if we as politicians think this is right, by the time the government turns against these kind of elements, they should have themselves to blame. Because no responsible government will sit by and watch police stations being burnt. And this happens virtually every day in the southeastern part of this country. And these are kind of things there's a comfort to us. It's more of political. Now the politics is turning into, in some parts of the country, trying to see it as ethnicity or religion. Instead of us as a people to look and say, look, when do we start discussing about governance? When do we start discussing about feeding, about security, things that will unite us? Not when we start talking about where you come from. Because look, I mean, as at today, Buhari being a Muslim president, are the Muslims doing better than the Christians in this country? No. So which means it's not about religion. It's not about tribe. It's not about ethnicity. It's about us as a people. But if some politicians see it that, look, we have to bring this government down by fanning the embers of hate and what have you. We are just doing it unto ourselves. And God will not allow it to happen. And this government is responsive. This government is there to deal with such characters. And you will see, as I tell you, you will see what will happen in this country between today and the next 1 week. And I hope you will invite me a week after today, and you will probably be talking about these things.
Well, Honorable Farouk, well, the thing is, I mean, we don't know if we get that impression, but if there is anyone, the law is the law. So if there's anyone who is found, burying or tossing AK-47 or 49, burning or killing police officers or police stations, the law is the law. Such people should definitely face the law. So point blank, that no sentiments or emotions about all of that. But speaking about politicians, one wonders, because when you say politicians are some of the people responsible for some of what is going on, but there are some other issues that are out there. I mean, can we blame politicians? Is it politicians that are responsible for the unemployment rate, which is about 33.3% in Q4 of 2020? Is it politicians that are responsible for inflation rate at 17%? Is it politicians responsible for the poverty rate, which is about 42.5%, and say 105 million Nigerians are extremely poor, according to the World Poverty Clock in 2020. In fact, he goes on to say that Nigeria currently has the largest number of poor people in sub-Saharan Africa. Those are factors that will be cannon fodder for young people to become pliable.
Yeah, I mean, we as a government don't hold politicians responsible for that. But then also there are certain indices that definitely is not caused by this government. The whole world is in a crisis. The whole world is in an economic crisis. This COVID of a thing that came, this country, we went into recession 2-3 times. It's true, and then every country in this world is going through the same kind of thing we're going through. Yes, but the difference between other claims and ours is cooperation, some certain cooperation by citizens. This also is the government that has done more palliatives to the people of this country than any other government. Whether that does not translate to us getting out of poverty line, that I don't know. But I can assure you that, look, there are also a significant amount of people in this country that their lives are better than what it used to be. It's true, yes, we're in the crisis situation. You know, this COVID of a thing, the whole world was shut, and Nigeria is not an island. So we also are part of the global crisis because we are in it together. So, but this government has done everything possible. We still have not gone into food crisis. Yes, the food could be expensive, but at least it's available, you know. So with the COVID, this government still tried to ensure that there is food around in the country. So please, I want us, as I said, as a people, to keep cooperating with the government, whichever government, because let's not see it as an APC affair. It is collectively our affair as a nation. And we don't see anything wrong in the opposition saying, we have done this, we have not done that. We were in the opposition. There are certain things we did while we were in the opposition. Now we know better. Let me just give you an example. Like the fuel subsidy that we fought against when we were in opposition. Now when we came into government, we know better than, look, yes, this subsidy has to go. That's the truth. Now, so these are the kind of things that probably some things, if you're in opposition, you wouldn't know. But when you come into power, some things will stare you in the face, and you have to take certain decisions that you have to shift grounds from what you earlier held on.
Well, you know, out of the 5 times the country got into recession, 3 of them have been in this particular government. But then when you say we'll call you back in 1 week, is that to say that in that 1 week or before that time, the students who were kidnapped, the Kaduna School of Forestry students, the Greenfield students, and then Federal University of Agriculture, Makodi, will they all have been rescued among several things before we call you back in 1 week?
Well, I'm not telling you that they will be rescued, you know, within the next 1 week. But there will be significant improvement in the security situation in this country, because I know, I have privy knowledge of things that are happening as from last night. Within the next 1 week, by the grace of God, things will. And look, you see, kidnapped people are not just from these schools. There are so many people kidnapped all over the place. And whenever there are successes, we don't get to hear about it. But of course, as a government, we take responsibility. That's okay. That's fine, because we are in government, so whatever happens, whether even if you fight with your wife, you will say the fault of Buhari or the fault of APC. That's okay. It's part of the burden we have to carry on with us leading this country.
But just one quick thing here. I mean, you've said a number of things that I just wanted to get clarity on. So when you said earlier that while you were in government, you made some comments that, while you were in opposition, you made some comments that you didn't know, but now you know better. Why then should the people trust your government if then you said something and now you are asking people to trust government? Why should the people trust this government when the government was making comments based on inadequate information?
The difference is in sincerity of purpose. The difference is in explanation. When we fought against fuel subsidy, we knew how people were taking the money, stealing the money in government at that time. Now we explain to the people that, look, when you bring in this, when you give this subsidy, most our borders are porous, so we as a country subsidize fuel in Benin Republic, in Cameroon, in Chad, in Niger, as far as Togo. Now we know better. I'm confessing that now we know better. So these are the kind of things, and look, that is the truth, coming out to tell the truth. We demonstrated in this country against fuel increase. Now we are in the vanguard of increasing the fuel, because we know that, look, this subsidy has to go someday. And it is going to go, certainly, because that's one of the ways that government will get more money.
Well, I don't know. We're seeing some feedback here from some of our viewers. If you check on our Twitter handle there, someone wants us to ask Honorable Member what the government is doing in the areas where Boko Haram are burning military posts, carting away arms and ammunition, killing our soldiers and civilians, including the policemen. I don't know. You have said we should have 1 week, but do you want to quickly say something to what is being done when military men themselves are coming under attack?
Well, you see, in war, from what elementary we know, there are certain things that happen, like, surprise, when the Boko Haram bandits will come and, surprise the military and do this thing. But if you know the number of casualties the military inflict on these Boko Haram, you probably wouldn't be saying, well, yes, we've done something. I assure you, for every military man killed, probably 10, 20, 100 Boko Haram members are killed. These things are there. So that's the truth. And then look, our members of the armed forces know exactly, they knew when they were joining the military that, look, they have sacrificed their lives for you and I to live. And in that duty, if one or two or several of them lose their lives, that's in all course of the duty. But then what is the government doing to ensure that that does not happen? The military are the ones to come up with the and I am sure the military will not put themselves in harm's way. And then when you are fighting war, as I said, there are bound to be casualties, there are bound to be mistakes here and there. And I'm sure the military are doing something. As I said, I assure you 1 week from today, you will see things that will happen in this country in better stead about the security of this country.
Well, sir, 1 week is what he has given. Do you think that we can wait 1 week, or do you think it's sufficient time?
No, you see, both of you and Chamberlain are misinterpreting the 1 week Honorable Farouk is talking about.
Okay.
Yes, it may not be what you think.
Okay.
It may be what will happen to certain individuals in this country or certain sections of this country. So we should be alert over what he has said, because as an insider person in government and somebody who is being given some security information as to what the military or the security forces will do, we wouldn't know whether some of us will be here after 1 week.
Why do you think we should have such a fear?
Because we don't know. It's ignorance. We don't know what will happen.
Indeed, we don't know what will happen, but I guess, I don't know, what I could extrapolate from what she's trying to say is that, there will be some calm returning to the country, especially with all the security challenges.
I pray so. Calm did not return in 12 years. It's going to be done in 2 weeks. It's only maybe they are picking you or me or some other persons on framed up charges.
Why do you have such a fear?
I'm a human being. The first law of nature is self-preservation.
If if we haven't done anything wrong, should we be afraid?
Does government need to wait whether you've done anything wrong or right if they are against you or for you, to reward you or to punish you?
How does punishing anyone, bring peace to a country?
Maybe you are not in this country.
I'm just asking. I mean, that's my job. I ask questions.
Maybe you are not in this country. Our praise is that he's talking on the positive side of it. But I tend to believe that it is more than what he has said because of the privilege of information into security situations in this country as a member of government. We are not. We are bystanders. And all that we comment on is what we see physically before us.
Well, sir, we have to thank you very much for coming. I wish I could quickly flip this to Honorable Farouk, just for some clarification, in maybe 30 seconds.
Exactly.
But we have to thank you very much for coming
yes,
to Sunrise Elite this morning. Alhaji Buba Galadima is a former spokesperson at Atiku Campaign Organization. He's also a farmer and a politician. Well, gentlemen in Lagos.
Indeed, but pardon me. Honorable Farouk, if you could make this quick, is what he's suggesting going to happen? Did we misinterpret you?
Yeah, because I just wanted to say, I mean, I don't know what my senior brother is afraid of. We are not after anybody. And yes, I'm a very, very proud person as an insider of this government. But I assure him that we're not going to go after him. We're not going to go after anybody that is not a criminal. And I don't think my senior brother is a criminal. But if he becomes one, we'll go after him.
All right, then, Honorable Farouk, APC Chieftain, thank you very much indeed for your time this morning. We will be back in a moment. Join us again.